Howdy folks, this is the Volantex FPV Raptor V2 from banggood.com. Purchase links and a discount coupon code are in the video description. This is a 2-meter wingspan FPV cruiser. I asked my building buddy Storm to check out the model and give it a good going over before we got started. He was quite interested in the grey paint scheme and the turned up wingtips and the PVC plastic fuselage. With Stormy's approval, I set about knolling the components. Knolling means laying everything out in straight lines, parallel lines and 90 degrees to help with the build. So Stormy reports that it smells really nice and it feels good under the paw. So time to move on to the assessment. Now the wing and the tail planes are exactly the same as on my Phoenix, and they come from the same company, so it's no surprise. The fuselage is PVC plastic, same as with the Phoenix, which makes it really tough. Can handle crashes with no problems at all. I really like these tough PVC fuselages. This one has lots and lots of room in the nose, and it's a pusher motor as well, so it'll be a good cruising FPV ship, I reckon. So we have a really sturdy carbon fibre spar to join the wings and a plywood joiner as well. Everything just screws and bolts together, no glue at all, really easy assembly I think. Has a nice folding propeller as well, so that'll be interesting. I won't spend too much time on this, let's go on with the build. First job is to attach all the control horns, and there are 6 of them to attach to elevator, rudder, flaps and ailerons, and they're a pretty standard item, just a little plastic backing plate into which you screw 2 or 4 screws. They actually provide 4 screws, but I'm just doing 2 for the moment. Working out which side of the rudder to put the control horn, which is on the right hand side, opposite to the aileron control horn, and same with the flaps and ailerons. Now the flaps come partially attached, so you need to free them up just by cutting out a little bit of foam there. Now attaching the horizontal and vertical stabiliser, and there are a couple of plastic brackets that just poke through the fuselage, one at the bottom, and then the horizontal stabiliser goes on top of that, and then the top bracket slots in, and the rudder mounts into that bracket. And to hold it all together, use the about 20mm shiny silver screws. And to secure the vertical stabiliser, the longer black screws are the ones to use. Now moving on to the wings, I'm going to join them together, and you just insert the carbon fibre spar into the aluminium channels inside the wing. And on the underneath, that's where the plywood joiner goes, and there are 4 screws that hold that in. Now there's no way to get a screwdriver in there to put the retaining screw in for the servo arm, so you need to cut a little channel on each of the wing servos so that you can get a screwdriver in. This one's one of the flap servos, and you need to do the same thing on the aileron servos as well. There seems to be a channel, but it doesn't line up with anything. I've attached a servo tester and centered up the servo and then fitted the arm in the vertical position. This little magnet helps hold the fiddly little screw while you're trying to get it into that servo arm. And we do the same for all 4 wing servos, make sure the range is okay. Now I'm checking the elevator servo with the servo tester again, and that's all operating well. But swapping over to the rudder servo, and we have a problem. That servo is free spinning, acting like a motor rather than a servo. So that's no good. So out with that one. That's no use to anyone. Chuck it in the bin and replace it with one that works. These are my favourite servos, a Turnigy 9018 Metal Gear Micro. Now I'm just putting a bit of packing tape over the servo wires so they don't pop out of their channels. And now it's time to attach all the push rods and adjust them to length with the servo tester connected, and make sure all the control surfaces are operating okay. That looks good. Plenty of range. There's a little stretchy band safety collar as well, which is a great idea to prevent it disconnecting. And now I'm adjusting and connecting the push rods for the elevator and rudder as well. So that's the basic setup of all the control surfaces, and we may need to do fine adjustments later on once we have a test flight. Next I'm going to put some thread locker on the motor mount screws because I've had too many motors fall off due to vibrating loose screws. So I had to take the motor mount pedestal apart, put a little dob of thread locker on the screws and do them back up again. Here's the motor. It's a 4023 1050 kV. Nice and big, looks like it's powerful. Fitting the motor onto the fuselage, and the pedestal just clicks into place, and there are 4 screws to hold it in position. Now it's time to mount the wing, and there were 2 Y leads provided for flaps and ailerons so that you can fly this plane using only 5 channels. So I thought I'd try it that way initially, and later on I might swap to 7 channels and show how to do the full house setup. And checking that all those connections are good with the servo tester, and yep, that looks like it's working. I'm going to have my receiver up in the nose area so that I can get access to it without having to take off the wing, so I need to add a couple of servo extension leads so that all the leads will reach up to the front. I really like how you can get your hand right in there to pass the leads through without too many problems. It looks like the ESC just sort of sits on top of the wing there and the leads pass over into the nose area. I don't know, I'll have to play with that a little bit. And there's just 4 bolts to attach the wing to the fuselage. Now this foam fairing or wing cover, I guess you'd call it, just slots into the motor mount, and then there's a twisty clip at the front to hold it down, and then the canopy just snaps into place over that. The folding propeller is a standard collet style attachment, so you just need to loosen off that nut, fit it onto the shaft, tighten the nut, and that's all there is to it. And the cover is held on by 2 little screws. Initially I'm just going to have 5 channels so I can get by with a 6-channel receiver. I've set up the model in my Tyrannus, now attaching the battery and listening for the beeps. The beeps are good, so now it's time to check the direction of my throws. Ailerons, that's good. Rudder's good. I've got flaps on the slider and they go up as well as down, so I might tweak that later on. And the prop's spinning in the right direction, so it's all good. Now I'm going to check the current draw at maximum throttle using a wattmeter, and it gets up to about 27 amps, so the 40 amp ESC should be able to handle that. I rarely go full throttle anyway. Checking the position of the centre of gravity, and that's got a 3000 3S battery in there, and it's balancing just on the rear of that plywood joiner, which is about 65 millimeters back from the leading edge. So I'll have to check the manual again, but I think that's fine. And with that battery, the flying weight is around about 1500 grams, a little bit more maybe. So we're good to go. Stormy's doing the last check and he's impressed. Time to go flying.